Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, the 40-second blueprint. We're going to deconstruct the exact, literal DNA used to manufacture viral history and push it right into our digital feeds. We're looking at how complex historical events are packaged, polished, and engineered into a literal formula. All right, let's get right into it.
I want you to really think about this number for a second. 40. Just 40 seconds. That is the extreme time constraint dictated right out of the gate by the source material we're looking at today. Think about the sheer audacity of that. The creator is attempting to tell the story of an entire war, international conflict, military strategy, human drama, in less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee or, even decide what to watch on TV. It immediately hooks you, doesn't it? Because how on earth do you condense all that history into 40 seconds without totally losing the audience? Well, it turns out there's a highly specific formula.
Okay, let's dive into this. What you're seeing is the exact raw document. It's just a single, incredibly dense paragraph, but it outlines the strict requirements for the content. Make no mistake, this little paragraph is the complete genetic code for our explainer today. Every single word in this prompt is a calculated instruction, specifically designed to capture, hold, and ultimately monetize human attention. To understand how this actually works, we can map out the overarching chronological flow explicitly requested in the text. It demands a very specific 3x structure, totally compressed into that tiny 40-second window. We begin with step 1, a dramatic hook, just to stop the scrolling. Then we move right into step 2, the historical scenes, to deliver that promised educational value. And finally, we land on step 3, the call to action. Let's break down exactly how the prompt engineers each of these 3 phases. Phase 1, crafting the dramatic hook. The psychology of those opening seconds in short-form media is honestly pretty brutal. You either grab them instantly or they're gone. Swipe. The source explicitly mandates starting with a dramatic hook showing a giant clock counting down. Think about why this matters. A giant clock isn't just a picture of time passing, it creates immediate, undeniable urgency. It signals to your brain that something explosive is about to happen, and you absolutely need to stick around to see what it is. It literally manufactures suspense out of thin air, before a single historical fact has even been introduced. Simultaneously, the prompt requires the display of this exact text: the shortest war in history. I pause there because the text itself is intentionally designed to make you pause. These specific words serve as the ultimate narrative hook. It creates a massive curiosity gap. You instantly wonder, wait, how short was it? Who was even fighting? By pairing that ticking clock with this exact phrase, the blueprint practically ensures the viewer is locked in. Moving on to phase 2, staging 1896 Zanzibar. Now, how in the world do you establish a complex 19th century geopolitical climate in just a matter of seconds? Well, you do it through highly recognizable visual shorthand. See, the prompt doesn't ask for a slow, textbook exposition. Nobody wants that on their feed. Instead, it specifically defines the 1896 Zanzibar setting through these highly visual, almost stereotypical historical tropes. It explicitly demands realistic 1896 historical scenes of British warships near Zanzibar, old city buildings, historical maps, and animated timelines. It's basically feeding the viewer visual cues that just scream history in a language we instantly understand. Now, what's really interesting here is the friction between the subject matter and the medium itself. The prompt asks for 1896 history, but it strongly demands it be presented in a modern documentary style. So I want to pose this question. What actually makes a modern documentary style? How does the prompt dictate we bridge the gap between a 19th century war and a 21st century audience? This perfectly illustrates that tension. On one side, we have our antique subject matter, historical maps, old buildings, the 1896 setting. But on the other side, we have highly modern delivery mechanisms, 4K quality, dynamic camera movements. The blueprint relies on the fact that to make old history palatable to a fast-scrolling audience, it absolutely must be injected with the adrenaline of modern media production. Phase 3, the viral documentary aesthetic. This is where we analyze the highly specific sensory experience required to make this video go viral. The text demands an incredible list of requirements. Listen to this. 1. Smooth transitions. 2. Cinematic lighting. 3. Realistic visuals. 4. Dynamic camera movements. 5. Informative captions. 6. Engaging background music. The document literally checks off every single element that together engineers that modern documentary style. It is a relentless, rapid-fire assault on the senses designed to prevent the viewer's brain from ever getting bored enough to swipe away.
and this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal of the entire endeavor. The prompt explicitly instructs the creator to use a style similar to educational viral shorts. It is entirely self-aware. It's not trying to invent a new genre of filmmaking. No, it is an explicit instruction to mimic what is already working on social media algorithms. It wants to blend in perfectly with the high-performing content that already dominates your feed. To ensure it competes at the very highest level, the text demands ultra-realistic 4K quality. Really think about that for a second. For a 40-second video about a relatively obscure historical event, the standard is top-tier visual fidelity. It proves that in today's media landscape, short form absolutely does not mean low quality. The production value must be impeccable just to earn the viewer's trust and attention. And the format? Totally non-negotiable. 9:16. That specific aspect ratio is crucial. The blueprint knows this history isn't meant for a giant cinema screen. It's optimized entirely for a smartphone held right in the palm of a hand. The warships, the maps, the ticking clock, every single piece of this historical event must be framed vertically for rapid mobile consumption. Phase 4, the final call to action. We've had the hook, we've had the history, and now the true objective is finally revealed. So the crucial point here is this final required line of text, follow WinKnowledge for more amazing facts. After 40 seconds of high-octane 4K history, the blueprint demands a transaction. This closing text reveals the true purpose of the video. The educational content about the 1896 Zanzibar War was ultimately just a vehicle for audience capture. The real goal is converting passive viewers into active followers for the brand. Which brings us to the end of our structural breakdown and leaves us with a rather profound question to consider. We've just seen the raw, unedited DNA of how a piece of history is explicitly packaged to manipulate attention and drive engagement. So if history itself can be so precisely engineered into a viral formula, what else are we consuming day in and day out that follows this exact calculated 40-second blueprint? It definitely makes you look at your feed a little differently, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you found the structural deep dive as fascinating as I did. Keep questioning what you watch, and I'll catch you next time.